Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. So I wanted to start off basically the first official video on this channel with a bit of an introduction of myself and just how I got into PCs, since that's going to be the main focus of my channel. It is going to be into PC hardware and games and just the atmosphere of games on the PC and PCs in general. So for myself, I started off with, like a lot of us do, with the most basic of computers. I started off with a HP Pavilion when I was like 11 years old, and that was basically my gateway into gaming on a computer. Now at the time, I had a Nintendo 64, and then after that I went and got a PS2 and an Xbox 360, and kind of got away from computers in terms of using them for gaming. And my experiences on that computer are things that still stick with me. Playing The Sims 1 when that came out, and looking forward to that, and playing Sims City 3000, Need for Speed High Stakes, the old Papyrus NASCAR racing games. NASCAR Racing 3 in particular, because NASCAR Racing 4 just wouldn't play on that computer. And with The Sims 1, I could play the game just fine as long as I didn't leave and go and play one of the expansion packs like The Sims Vacation, because at that point I was pretty much having to play at slideshow PowerPoint frame rates at that point. So we've all been there with lower end PCs. And it wasn't until recently that I got a higher end computer. I got a 2070 Super i7 9700F, 16 gigs of RAM, pre-built back in 2020. And at that point, pre-builts were all I used and felt I would ever use. I never felt like I was going to build my own PC. It was one of those things that just felt out of reach. I always felt, man, that would be great to do. It sounded interesting. I'd watched all the YouTube videos. I follow all the YouTubers who get into PC gaming and talk about PC gaming and building and the hardware, like JSUSense or Gamers Nexus and Hardware Unboxed. All of those, I would watch those videos, even though I knew that I guess deep down had reservations or almost fears about building my own computer, just because I felt like I would mess it up. And I feel like a lot of people have that feeling, and that's something that is in the back of a lot of people's minds when they're planning to build a computer or to buy a computer. It's just that feeling of, man, the CPU is expensive, the motherboard's expensive. If I put the money into it, and what if I bend the pins on the CPU? You see the scary videos on YouTube where people showing bending the pins, or you see the warning videos about it, and I kind of would psych myself out about it. In actuality, it was not anywhere near as hard as I thought it was going to be, and it wasn't as scary as I thought it was going to be, and bending the pins wasn't something that was like some big threat while I was building it. Ended up being completely different than I ever thought it was going to be, and that's kind of my point to this video. This rambling video is that I kind of want people to know that, as somebody who had no experience in it, I always loved computers and computer gaming and stuff, but I was always a pre-built person because it was just easier for me. Same reason I stuck with consoles. However, my most recent pre-built that I had, I decided that I wanted a little bit more performance from it. I had the 2070 Super that was in it. It wasn't quite reaching the smooth frame rates in some of the newer games, and I wasn't able to put the settings where I wanted to. So I went and I looked up and did reviews, looked at reviews and those channels I talked about, and I decided on a RTX 3080. And when I decided on 3080, I saw that, I'm probably going to need a new power supply. So I went and I bought the new power supply, and ended up, the power supply was probably the scariest thing to me. Mainly because of cable management and having to unhook stuff that I wasn't comfortable unhooking. inside the computer and then having to reattach those things in the computer that I wasn't comfortable about doing, because I felt like, oh man, it works fine now, but I might tear it up. But did I tear it up? No. And was it difficult? No. Just installing the GPU was simple. You just basically unscrew the things from the back of the case on the brackets and you just pull it out. Pull the GPU straight out. Take the other one, being careful, and you find the slot that you need to slide it in. There's a piece that slides in there and on the PCI Express, and you just make sure that they fit there, just the basic as basic gets, making sure it fits in the slot. Like we've used many different types of things with just the basic skill of matching two shapes together. You slide it in there and then you screw it into the back of the thing and maybe get a support. It's not difficult. With the power supply, it was a little bit more difficult, mainly because the case absolutely sucked. The iBuyPower case had a shroud on it that I guess was not meant to be upgraded easily, because you couldn't see anything. There's no room. But I managed to get it done. And what I learned from doing that is that I was fully capable of building my own PC. So, after that, I gamed happily on it for another couple years until more recent games made me discover that the CPU was now the limiting factor for me. And what do we all know about the CPU is that when you upgrade the CPU, you basically have to upgrade everything else. So, again, I was a little worried. I was a little scared because I'm like, okay, now I've got to upgrade this CPU, and that means I have to upgrade the entire computer because I have to get a new motherboard, then probably new RAM. So I started that process of researching. Amazon Prime Day came up and I decided, screw it, let's go ahead and just build a whole new PC. Went and found a case, the H7 Elite, which I know Gamers Nexus had said wasn't the best one in the world because it is very loud, and they were not lying. It is an extremely loud case, but it keeps my computer cold, to say the least. It keeps it nice and cool in there. The components are usually well below what they were in my pre-built. I rarely ever see them get out of the 60s at max. Usually they're in the 50s, my components, the GPU and CPU in a lot of games. Especially since I limit my frame rate to 60 in a lot of games, just because I prefer it to run cooler and quieter than at a crazy high frame rate. It just doesn't make much of a difference to me. But anyway, I went ahead and decided to go ahead and go through the process. So I bought a 13600K in the case and the 4070 Ti Super, sold the other computer, and got started. And was it as difficult as I thought it was going to be? No, it wasn't. I watched a few YouTube videos about installing the CPU just to psych myself up for it. And was it difficult? Like I said, no, not at all. Did I bend the pins? Nope, didn't even come close. There's little markings on when you're installing it in the motherboard. You just line them up and you just let it slide into place on the motherboard, and then you just lower the little pin down and it snaps right into place, and you're done. And then you install the RAM and the M.2s just like they are shown in the videos that you can see. That it's very simple. And I feel like if I can do it, anybody can do it. And it's not anything to be scared of. To me, it's a fun hobby now. I probably would never have gotten into it if I hadn't gotten a pre-built and needed to upgrade it. And I think, like I've heard a lot of people say, it's a gateway. When you upgrade a pre-built, it gets you into PC building. And this is exactly what happened to me. And I have absolutely no doubt that more people would get into PC gaming and building if they didn't have that kind of fear of, I don't know, messing up the components or the price, putting money into it, and then what if it doesn't turn on? Then you know, what then? And those are, you know, realistic fears, because especially if you build it your own on your, you know, on your own, you don't have that factory warranty that you have with the full system. So if it doesn't boot, you are kind of having to troubleshoot. And then there's comes to the game sometimes. If they don't run, you might have, especially with older games, you know, you have to troubleshoot a little bit. Some of that stuff comes with PC gaming, but you start to enjoy it at a point. I find that it becomes, you know, part of the charm to it, and kind of the hobby in itself. I don't want to ramble too much, but just the point of this video was just PC building. I feel is something that a lot of people just get scared of, and I know for myself that I did it as well for a long time. But man, is it a rewarding and fun hobby, I guess is the only word you can really say. And I think it's kind of reinvigorated my interest in games. I never really, I guess, paid attention too much to a lot of the PC exclusive games that you can find on Steam. A lot of survival games and stuff, and RTS games and stuff. And now it's kind of opened up new genres, especially with the indie games and stuff, and games that I played on console. It's fun to play them again with better settings and just in higher frame rates, and just seeing what your computer can do. So I think my advice and the point of this video overall is just give it a, you know, if you're interested in it, give it a shot. It's not for everybody, of course. Some people just prefer consoles and it's easier. But if you have the funds and you have the means and the time to get into PC gaming, even if it's just getting a pre-built, it's worth doing, and it can open up possibilities and a new hobby for you, because it's not as difficult as it sounds, especially since PC gaming itself has never been easier. You don't have to worry about installing the CD drives and the DVD drives and all the storage that has their own spots in the computer, and the cable management for those. The M.2s don't have to have anything connected to them. They just clip on in, and you don't have to worry about drives like the CD drives and stuff. It's so much easier now. I think this is the most accessible PC gaming has ever been. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and more are coming. And I just wanted to get this one out there just as a little introduction to the channel, a first video, and a topic I've been thinking about for a while is just giving it a shot, not being scared of it, and trying to get other people. I know I've got friends of mine that I've been trying, even if it's through a pre-built, trying to get them into PC gaming, and just sharing, I guess, that fun hobby that a lot of us enjoy. So anyway, until next time, see ya.